Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. So today we are discussing tips for flying with young kids, like very young kids. So I will tell you that we have lived in North Carolina and Texas and Georgia, and from those places we've flown all the way to Oregon. So my trips have not been like quick 2-hour flights. I am giving you details and tips from having go flying all the way across the country, multiple flights with 2 kids alone. So, I will tell you that I have flown with my son when he was 5 months old. I've flown with him at a year-old in my lap. I have flown with a 2-year-old and a 5-month-old together. And now just recently I flew with my 1.5-year-old and my 3-year-old. So I've had like a lot of different age ranges to really kind of get this figured out and see what works. So some of these tips are just going to be for everyone, no matter where you're flying. And some of these tips are going to be when you're flying across country, multiple flights, and they're really going to be specific for those type of flights. So the first few tips are going to be pretty self-explanatory, so I'm just going to breeze through them and get them out of the way. The later tips are going to be the ones that are like very detailed and things that you may not have thought of. So tip number 1 is snacks. So many damn snacks. Lots of them. Tons of snacks. But seriously. So my 1 and 3-year-old, as long as they're eating, they are happy and they are not climbing on me. They are not bothering other passengers. They are not crying as long as they have food. So what I like to do is have a lot of different snacks and kind of like space them out. One thing that I do with the snacks that it really worked with my 1.5-year-old is during takeoff when like she didn't want to have her seatbelt on and she was really unhappy. That's when I gave her first snack. Because I wanted her to sit in her seat rather than climbing on all over me or doing any other unsafe things when she needed to be buckled in. So, tip number 2 is another easy one. Make sure you have those iPads or Kindle Fires or whatever kind of TV device they have. Make sure you have those charged and make sure you have movies and TV shows downloaded on them. So what I did for my daughter is she has a Kindle Fire and I downloaded like Frozen and Trolls and Lorax, just stuff that had a lot of singing in it because that's her jam right now. And I gave her that during the flight. And at her age, she doesn't really watch TV a lot, but she'll like stare at it for a while. And it did give me just a teeny bit of a break during the flying. So for my 3-year-old, I went more with like his favorite TV shows. I actually downloaded them from Netflix. Netflix, at least my Netflix, since it's only for one device, only allows me to download onto one device. So I was able to download Netflix onto his, and I downloaded Amazon Prime movies that we owned onto hers. So tip number 3, this one is obvious, but it's also kind of not obvious, and it is headphones. So obviously you want headphones. That is one of the rules for most airplane flights, is that you need headphones in your device because no one else wants to hear what you're listening to. So where this is not obvious is when I started flying with my son, I got the Walmart headphones, like Jacks, I think they were called. And they said on there that they were a low volume so they wouldn't hurt their ears and stuff like that. And I thought that's amazing because I don't want them to have hearing loss, right? And when we got on the airplane and we were flying, the airplane is so freaking loud. There's so much noise from the wind and the air blowing in and the other passengers that I couldn't even hear the show he was watching at all. So the headphones that have noise control, they don't really work great for airplanes. So this last time that I flew all the way to Oregon from Georgia and back, I purchased, I will leave an Amazon link below for you guys. It will be an affiliate link, but I will leave a link below to some headphones that I would recommend. They have different settings, and so you can push the setting higher when they're on noisy airplanes, and then it can be lower when they're like in the car or they're hanging out at home and for some reason you have their headphones in. So tip number 3 is to get headphones that have different levels so that you can adjust the level based on what you're doing. So tip number 4 is going to be a little controversial, and you guys don't have to do it if you don't want to, But I recommend buying a seat for each of your children. We flew Southwest, and I called them to see if they would offer a discount. And they do offer a discount for children, but it is not cheaper than the anytime, like, cheapest tickets you can buy. So you're pretty much going to pay the same price for yourself as you're paying for your children. It is a lot more expensive, but for me, if I was only a 2 or 3 hour flight with my 1-year-old, I would just set her in my lap. But if it's a longer flight, I would recommend having a seat for your child just for your sanity. So that's what I did this time, because I told my husband that I don't know if I can, like, get everyone snacks and keep everyone happy and, like, take care of everyone while having a 1-year-old that weighs 25 pounds or 27 pounds sitting in my lap. So when I flew with my son when he was 5 months old and it was just me and him and he was in my lap, I couldn't do anything for myself. He would fall asleep on me, and then, like, I couldn't reach down and grab my water. I couldn't reach down and grab a snack because I had him attached to me all the time, and it was actually kind of miserable to fly across the country that way. So I would recommend that if you are flying with 2 children and you are by yourself, that you get them their own seat. If it's you and someone else, then obviously you can switch off and there's a little more wiggle room. But I definitely wouldn't want to fly for a long period of time, because I think we flew for 9 hours, including our layover. And we actually traveled for like 16, and there's just no way I could have done that with a kid in my lap. All right, so tip number 5. Oh, and also, y'all, if you do get a seat for your child, make sure that if it's an infant, that the car seat that you're using is FFA certified. It'll have a little sticker on the car seat that tells you if it's safe for airplanes. And by the way, my 1.5-year-old did not have her own car seat. She sat in the seat just fine. So tip number 5, and this is going to be one of the most important, ladies, so I hope you made it this far. Tip number 5, I will put a picture up here, is this collapsible red wagon. You can get it from Walmart. You can use it for everything else. I loved this thing. It worked amazing. So when you have 2 kids and you're flying on multiple airplanes, or like when we got to Atlanta and I had to drag both of my kids from like the C gate all the way to the tram, and from the tram all the way to baggage claim, and then all the way from baggage claim to the car, and it's a huge airport. This wagon was a lifesaver because I sat both of my kids in it and the diaper bag, and it has buckles so you can buckle them in so they can't get out, and then you just take them through the airport. Boom, done. And it's collapsible. So all I did when I was getting ready to get on the plane is I collapsed it, and then I took some rubber zip ties, the reusable ones, and I just zip tied it so it would stay shut. And they put it under the airplane, and then they brought it back up for me, and I collapsed it back out, and I used it. So it worked really, really well. Especially since, like, if you wanted to use like a double stroller, that thing would be gigantic. So you're really left with 2 kids that either one is walking, one's in a small stroller, or one's in the stroller and the other one is on like one of those boards standing while you push, right? There's really not a lot of other choices. So the wagon was amazing. It is by hands down the best purchase that I've ever made for flying. So I have a few other side tips. I'm not going to number these. We're just going to chat about these because these are just kind of random things. Before you go to the airport, see if any of the airports you're landing at have a play place and kind of where they are. You can pull up maps for every airport. When we were in the Portland airport, they had a play place right down from our gate. And so I let the kids run around and play and get all their energy out before we got on the plane, and it was awesome. So another tip is to get there early. What I like to do so I don't get stressed out is I like to get there 2 hours early, where I end up having a bunch of extra time. But then I can like change diapers and make sure everyone goes pee and get water and make sure everyone has snacks and get them some time to just kind of run around or do whatever, especially since it's like an hour and a half to the airport every time we travel. So just to give the kids that time to kind of acclimate and give me time to like prep. And along with getting there early, if you do have someone that's dropping you off and they can handle waiting a little bit, I always go to the ticketing counter with someone and I ask if they can accompany me through security. And they wait with me until I get on the plane. And that is a lifesaver, y'all, especially when you're flying for a long ways. So what I like to do is like they'll help me through security. They can have one kid, I'll take the other, or they can have the kids and I can like take all the laptops out, take my shoes off, separate the food, do all the crap that you have to get through security. And then once you're through, then you have someone to watch the kids while you go get water or prep bottles or do whatever you need to do to get ready for the flight. Another thing that I like to do when I first get on the airplane is I get everyone's stuff out. Even if they're not going to use it right now, like everyone's iPads are in their designated area. Everyone has their headphones. I have snacks in each of the compartments in the front, so we are ready to go. Everyone has their water. They're already filled up. Just some like pre-planning so that like as the flight's going, if I need to grab a snack during takeoff because my 1-year-old's crying, I can just grab and give. If, my 3-year-old is staring at his iPad crying because he wants to watch his iPad, then I can give it to him as soon as we take off and everything's good without having to like stress about digging in bags. So I like to take care of everyone. Another random tip is to make sure to take care of yourself. I know that is hard to do, but if you have your water out and you already have your snacks out and you have enough to keep you going, you are number one. I know as moms, we don't think that. But if you're not 100%, you're not going to be able to give 100% to them. So always have your stuff ready and make sure that you have everything you need to be healthy and happy. All right, y'all, I hope you enjoyed these tips. If you have any questions or if you are about to fly and you're nervous and there's like anything in particular that I didn't mention that you're curious about, just leave a comment below and I will totally answer you guys. I hope you have a safe and fun flight, and no matter how stressful it gets, remember that it's just one day. It will pass by so fast and all that stress will be for nothing. So just take it step by step, just get through, and then you'll be on your vacation or you'll be back home and everything will be awesome. All right, guys, so if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments, please leave them below. And as usual, please subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.